Welcome to the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast
with Garrett Williamson.
Health, wellness, exercise, nutrition, and a whole lot more. Got questions? Call us and leave a message at 251-278-EDGE or message us at Personal Edge Fitness on Facebook and Instagram, at Team PE on Twitter, or personaledgefitness.com.
Thank you for joining us. This is Garrett Williamson, and you are listening to the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast. I'm excited about talking about this subject. I don't know if there's a subject that I'm not excited about talking about, but mainly because I get this question every single week. For 28 years, somebody mentions this particular want or desire or need, I guess you'd say. So I want to jump right on it, right off the bat. I want to go ahead and tell you what it is. No big build-up, no leading into it, no talking along for time, like my wife tells me. Get to the point, Garrett. Most common question I get is, how can I increase my energy? Well, folks, today I'm going to tell you how you can increase your energy no matter where you are. As far as your energy level is concerned, I'm going to tell you how to increase your energy. We're actually going to go over what causes energy drain and basically 9 steps of how you can fix it. When you go to, I used to say a health food store, but nowadays it seems like just any store. Any store, because natural remedies or increasing energy is just becoming so important. And there's several reasons why it's becoming so important. People are increasing their time, their stress levels, and what have you. They're increasing their time, in other words, increasing their time of work or time being busy. And so they're increasing their stress levels so they feel drained and want more energy. But it seems like every store you go into, especially health food or any kind of grocery store, that there's all kinds of vitamins, herbs, and other supplements touted as energy boosters. Some are even added to soft drinks and other foods. But there's little, believe it or not, there's little or no scientific evidence that energy boosters like ginseng, guarana, chromium picolinate, there's no real evidence that they actually work. I probably made some people upset when I said that. And I'm sorry, folks. But there's no real evidence that they work. I remember when some of these came out, like everything that comes out, as soon as you hear that, oh my gosh, this is the newest, latest, greatest supplement, it's going to cure everything, stop doing everything, start taking this supplement. And then they start doing studies on it and find out that, you know what, we really don't need to be taking that much chromium picolinate. It really doesn't do all the wonderful things we thought it would do. And I'm just picking on one, but that's typically what happens. But thankfully, there are things that you can do to enhance your own natural energy levels. Now, we're saying natural energy levels. The reason why I'm saying that is not because of the natural things that you hear about. Oh, take this supplement. It's all natural. I think you've heard my comment about that, but it's all natural. Remember, so are rattlesnakes. So is poison oak. Believe it or not, arsenic is a plant. It's all natural. So I'm careful with that. No, all natural. What I'm talking about here is that we're born to have energy. Our bodies are built to have energy. We're not supposed to just, my body just doesn't have energy. No, your body's supposed to have it. It has energy. You're supposed to have energy. There are things that we do that causes us to lose energy. But the good news is, since there are things that we do that cause us to lose energy, there are obviously things that we can do to regain that energy. Now, what's causing your energy drain? And I'm going to give you the whys for all this. I'm trying not to bore you to tears, but I am going to give you the whys behind all of this, because I can easily give you the listing, but I'm going to tell you why these things cause an energy drain. Number one on top of the list, of course, is obesity. And there's several reasons obesity causes an energy drain. Now, you can surmise the most obvious one. That is, if you're carrying around extra weight, therefore you're going to be extra tired. And that's true. We like to take people that have lost a large amount of weight and find something that's that heavy, like if we've lost 16 pounds, we find a 16-pound frozen chicken. And they can carry that out, turkey, that's a large chicken, isn't it? And they can carry that turkey around and realize what it felt like when they had that extra 16 pounds on. So obviously carrying the extra weight around zaps your energy, because you're using the same muscles. That same muscles carrying a lighter weight would have a heck of a lot more energy. It can go a lot farther. But there's something else about obesity. Obesity, if you'll remember from the metabolism talk, from the fat talk, from the weight loss talk, from all these, I talk about the definition of obesity, which is 30% body fat or more. Now, having body fat on your body there's several reasons for it. It's stored energy is what it is. It's also done for warmth. It's insulation. But it's what I like to call dead tissue. It's not really dead, but it's what I like to call dead tissue. And the more fat you have on your body, the less efficient your body is, not just because of the weight, but think about blood flow. It's going to make it a little bit harder to pump blood to all your vital organs if it's having to go through fat. Many different ways it goes through fat, but through fat or with fat in it or what have you, it's going to be harder to pump. Therefore, your body's going to be less efficient. Oxygen equals energy, and the way your whole body gets oxygen distributed around it is through your bloodstream. Your lungs take in oxygen, goes into your heart, along gets mixed with red blood cells, making red blood cells, and pumps out red blood, which makes oxygen go around your body. And that's what oxygen, I always say, oxygen equals energy. That's why you sprint, and at the end of a sprint, you're breathing hard. Your body's trying to get more oxygen. And if you're slowing down the blood flow throughout the body, becoming less efficient, well, less oxygen is getting around your body, therefore you have less energy. There's other points about obesity that deal with the body being basically less efficient. Sort of like, well, one other thing too I want to point out real quickly is that your heart, if your blood flow it's harder to pump blood, then your heart's going to have to work a heck of a lot harder. Your lungs are going to have to work a lot harder. Do you have any clue how much energy those organs take? I'll give you some evidence of that. I'll give you an example of that, I should say. It's called the Valsalva maneuver. It's what happens when you go to lift something heavy. Think about it. You go to lift something heavy. One of the first things you'll do is you'll hold your breath. You'll stop breathing, put something down. It's called the Valsalva maneuver. Now, the reason why we know about this is something we encourage people not to do, because what's happening, your body's doing an automatic response. As I've said in many podcasts, and I'll always repeat to my dying day, that is the most advanced machine, smartest machine ever created was the human body. And when your body knows that it's challenged with this short-term stress, in other words, lifting this weight, this large amount of weight, and it needs more energy, the first thing it's going to do, it's going to cut off the lungs. Why? Because it knows it takes an incredible amount of energy to expand the lungs and collapse the lungs. And so what your body's going to do is going to shut down that production, therefore getting that much more energy and dedicating it to lifting this heavy object. The problem is that most of the time your body doesn't know that you're lifting this heavy object, sometimes longer or repeatedly. Therefore, the Valsalva maneuver can cause strokes and all these kind of fun things. So anyway, that's how you know that your lungs, expanding your lungs takes a lot of energy. Well, back to what we were saying, if you have more fat on the body, obesity, and your heart's having to work a lot harder, therefore your lungs are having to work a lot harder, therefore you're using up and draining your body of energy. Believe it or not, there's more ways that obesity actually causes an energy drain, but I'm not going to go into it. I think I've given you more than enough. Now we're about 9 or 10 minutes into this podcast, and I'm already talking about, you guessed it, water. The greatest substance on earth, the substance we all cannot live without, the substance that if we don't get, we will die. We'll die in 3 days if we don't get water. Every time I take a drink, folks, that reminds you to take a drink. I'm over 100 ounces today. I hope you're doing the same, because water is the most important element. It will keep you, what you decipher as young. Water will do it for you, and it will increase your energy, believe it or not. Now, how does that happen? How does water increase your energy? Or how does lack of water cause an energy drain? Well, of course, I will tell you. Think about this. Which would you rather be responsible for pumping? Stay with me on this. What if you had a little apparatus or like a squirt gun or something, or a hand pump that actually pumped a liquid? Which would you rather pump for an hour? Clear water or mud? Pablo, which do you think would take more energy? Pumping clear water or pumping mud by hand?
I would have to think that would be the mud, simply because it would have dirt in it and it would make it heavier.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, well, think about if I take oil or some kind of substance like that. Ranch dressing, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
In this case, we're actually talking about blood. But I added more water to it.
Okay.
All right, am I making it thicker or thinner?
I think you'd make it thinner.
Exactly.
Less viscous.
Bingo. Less viscous.
Right.
Therefore, easier to pump, right?
You would think.
Okay,
but
great.
you'd be increasing the volume.
I'll be increasing volume. True, increasing volume, but easier to pump, right? Okay.
Go through the pipes easier.
Bingo. Well, when we have an energy drain associated with water, we're talking about less water. Less water makes your blood more viscous. Therefore, it makes it thicker. It makes it like sludge. It's harder to pump. It's not impossible, but it makes it harder. Therefore, your heart's going to have to work harder. And remember what I said earlier. I was talking about obesity. If your heart's having to work harder, therefore, your lungs are having to work harder. All that energy is being expended. That's just strictly because of lack of water. Not only that, but all your functions slow down with a lack of water. And it has to do a lot with what we're talking about with the pumping of blood. But lack of water causes your body to start shutting different functions down all over. And it just basically makes you tired, takes your energy.
You're so right on that, too. When I found out I was diabetic, I don't bleed often.
Right.
And they showed me the difference. And when I would prick my finger to check my blood sugar, and my blood was very thick.
Right.
And almost gooey.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, once I had my blood sugar in check, it was like, oh wow, like that runs like water.
Yeah, exactly.
I could tell visually.
I wouldn't doubt it.
I could probably prick my finger right now, and just by looking at my blood and how it would run down my fingertip, tell you if my blood sugar was off.
I wouldn't doubt it. I would not doubt it whatsoever. Yeah. So, and this is funny about this little side note on water. Of course, I've always got side notes on water. But you ever heard this about the solution to pollution?
No.
The solution to pollution is dilution. The reason we have that little rhyme, that's pollution out in our rivers, and the way nature takes care of it, pumps more water in it, it dilutes it. Your body's the same way. If you have and this is not in all cases, and I'm not a doctor, nor do I play one on TV, but if you have too much of a drug, you take a medication you're supposed to take, but you actually take too much of it. You take an extra dose or whatever. Many times they'll drink a lot of water. The solution to pollution is dilution. I've seen this in dogs. When a dog has ingested something it shouldn't take in or whatever, right. Solution to pollution is dilution. And they'll actually hook an IV up to you, hook an IV up to the dog, and they'll pump water in there and clean it out, which is kind of interesting. So it goes to what you were saying about making your blood thinner. Mm-hmm. So anyway, lack of water causes an energy drain. Of course, this is pretty obvious, but a lack of sleep. Lack of sleep causes an energy drain. If you're not getting enough deep sleep, especially REM sleep, if you're not falling into it, then your body's not repairing. It's not getting fully restored. Therefore, it's like taking a football team and they play a heck of a game. They just wear themselves out. And then you turn right around after they've rested for about an hour and you play that same game again. Well, they're not going to be as effective. They're going to have less energy and what have. That's what's happening to you. When you have less sleep, your body's not fully restored. All your football players, arms, legs, whatever, aren't fully restored. Therefore, they're not going to be able to function at the highest quality. Plus, a lot of the repair that you didn't get when you were sleeping, your body's now taking care of. And so it's actually going to take energy to take care of that recovery process, which is the same thing that happens after you eat a meal. You eat a meal and about an hour later or something, you're just tired as anything. It's because your gut takes so much energy just to process food. Well, when you're trying to repair muscle, it takes a lot of energy. If you don't do it when you're sleeping, you can do it the next day. Therefore, you're going to have less energy. Now, believe it or not, this is one that people don't think of very often, but smoking. Smoking is a huge energy drain. Now, you can think about, okay, this guy's a personal trainer, been a personal trainer for 28 years. Of course, he's against smoking. Yeah, I am against smoking for many, many things, but lack of energy is not something people typically attribute with smoking. Well, why? Why do we have that? Well, a few different ways. If you're a long-term smoker, you've affected your lungs. If you affected your lung capacity, you've affected your VO2 max. How much oxygen you can take in and process and use. And what I say earlier about oxygen equals energy. Therefore, your breathing is affected. Therefore, your intake of oxygen is affected on a daily, every minute basis. Therefore, you're taking less oxygen. Therefore, you're tired. And if nothing else, even if you're just taking up smoking, think of how many breaths where you're not taking in oxygen. You're inhaling a carcinogen. You're not inhaling oxygen. Therefore, again, limiting oxygen intake just by actually puffing on a cigarette. It's going to cause you to have less energy because, again, less oxygen in the blood equals less energy. And this is one surprising because it's actually involved in the fix too, but something that causes energy drain. Now, you're going to be surprised to hear this, but what causes energy drain, believe it or not, is caffeine. And I am more than qualified to talk about this because, hello, I am Garrett. I am a caffeineaholic. But the reason caffeine causes an energy drain is we think that, okay, I drink some caffeine, boy, I'm pepped up. One of the biggest reasons it causes an energy drain is that, like any kind of amphetamine, it ends up speeding the heart rate. And when it speeds the heart rate, it makes the heart work harder and the lungs work harder. And for a brief time, you feel somewhat energetic. There's a major, major downfall to that. One thing, your lungs get tired. Your heart gets tired. And once that caffeine leaves the system, your heart and lungs are wanting to recover. It's much like if you're just walking around normal life and then you take off running. Well, you're going to need to stop and you're going to need to rest more than you would have to rest if you were just walking. You're going to have this downfall. And if you're drinking coffee on a regular basis or drinking caffeine on a regular basis, your body is going through these motions. And the more caffeine you take in, the deeper the pitfalls become. People that are amphetamine users, cocaine users, heroin users have this same depressive fall off. Anyway, it zaps your energy. It basically makes you sprint, your body figuratively sprint throughout the day. If you're sprinting 7, 8, 9 times a day, well, you're going to be tired. So caffeine and regular use of caffeine can actually cause an energy drain. Okay, since I get this question all the time, I don't just sit here and tell everybody, well, this is what causing it. I actually give them answers. I know you're probably glad to hear that. So I'll tell you 9 different steps you can use to fix your energy. And this is at any fitness level. You can improve your energy. Number 1 way is to control your stress. Now, if you heard my stress podcast, if you haven't, I highly, highly recommend it because stress is not always a bad thing. And stress is something that, one day I'm not going to have any stress. Yeah, you are. It's a natural human response. It's built off fight or flight response, and it's always going to be there. And you've got good stress and bad stress. You've got stress when, oh my gosh, I lost my job. That's stressful. You've got to do a million things today that half of them you forgot and your car breaks down. That's stressful. That's bad stress. But you also have good stress. The day of your wedding, it's good stress. You're excited. If you think about it, your day of your wedding, a lot of it you don't remember, probably. And mainly because you've had effects of stress, which will decrease peripheral vision, memory gets cut down, believe it or not, appetite goes. Well, you have good stress too. Those are exciting times. And you're always going to have stress. So learning to mitigate stress increases your energy level. How? Well, stress-induced emotions consume huge amounts of energy. But talking with a friend, relative, joining a support group, or seeing a psychotherapist even can all help diffuse stress. What is happening is you're putting yourself in that fight or flight response and causing your heart rate to elevate, your lungs to increase their capacity, your body to go through this whole system shutdown of cutting down digestion, what have you. And it takes a lot of energy to prepare for that fight or flight. And so it's zapping your energy. But if you learn how to mitigate it, relaxation therapies like meditation, self-hypnosis, yoga, dynamic stretching, tai chi, exercise, they all help you reduce stress. That'll help your body handle stress more efficiently. Go back to that obesity thing I was telling you earlier. Your body becoming more efficient will require less energy. Lighten your load. It sounds like the same thing as stress, but really, lighten your load. We're designed to do a lot of things. And actually, multitasking is something we've all gotten involved in, but it's actually bad for our brains, and we should limit that. But we have gotten to the point of just overloading ourselves and then overloading that. We really don't know what our limits are. And therefore, I wasn't able to leap a tall building in a single bound. I need more energy. Well, maybe you need to go for a smaller building. Maybe you need to take a couple of bounds to get over it. Overworking you and overloading yourself, you're setting yourself up for expectations of needing way too much energy. I've got to say this now. I do this for a living. So exercise. How about that? Exercise almost guarantees that you'll sleep more soundly. You get into that restorative sleep and your body repairs. It also gives your cells more energy to burn and circulates oxygen. Remember, oxygen equals energy. So if you're circulating oxygen on a regular basis or your body gets used to it, it becomes, more efficient. And efficient is conserving energy. It also causes your body, if you're looking for a drug, you want one better than caffeine? Exercising causes your body to release what we call epinephrine and also norepinephrine, which is stress hormones. And these modest amounts can actually make you feel good. Our trainers use this quite a bit in discussion. We say that a client is being endorphed. They've reached a point of being endorphed. And actually, what we're talking about releasing endorphins. Endorphins is a type of morphine that only your body can create. It's quite an amazing feeling because if you've ever experienced it, it's what they call the runner's high. It's a type of morphine. You want to talk about all natural? Your body's creating it. It's all natural. And it's a fantastic energy boosting effect that comes from exercise. It doesn't have to be lifting everything heavy. It doesn't have to be running. Even a brisk walk, believe it or not, can release the epinephrine and actually release endorphins. If you've ever done this, you've been in a stressful situation and you actually went and exercised or you just went for a walk, it's amazing how it quote unquote clears your head. What is actually happening there is you're increasing oxygen around your body. Therefore, 30% of your blood is actually used by your brain. You're increasing oxygen in the brain. Therefore, you can think clearer. You literally can think better. Your brain's becoming more efficient. That increases your energy. This is going to sound strange, but I'm actually going to say restrict your sleep. That sounds strange because I said a minute ago that being deprived of sleeping actually lowers your energy. But restrict your sleep. Now, if you think you may be sleep deprived, try getting less sleep. This may sound odd, but determining how much sleep you actually need can reduce the time you spend in bed not sleeping. Now, this process makes it easier to fall asleep and promotes what I call a far more restful sleep in the long run. Now, here's how to do it. What you do is, number one, you avoid napping during the day. Basically, stay up. Avoid napping during the day. The first night you do this, go to bed later than normal and just get about 4 hours of sleep. Stick with me on this now. Number three, if you feel that you slept well during that 4-hour period, add another 15 to 30 minutes of sleep the next night. Now, as long as you're sleeping soundly the entire time you're in bed, slowly keep adding sleep on successive nights until you reach that optimum point. And that optimum point is you're not waking up and getting intermittent sleep. You're going to sleep and you're sleeping soundly. Sometimes we hang out in bed for a long time and we're in there, oh my gosh, I need 12 hours of sleep. You're not even sleeping for 12 hours. You're tossing and turning. Restrict your sleep. You're basically training your body to make effective use of sleep. You're training your body that, wow, when I go down, lay down, I need to drop down fast. I need to go to sleep and to get in that deep REM sleep as quick as I can. If not, it's going to cut my sleep off. I got to hurry up and sleep, I guess is what you're teaching your body. But you're training your body to have more effective sleep. And more effective sleep means more restorative sleep, and therefore waking up energized, waking up feeling more alert, more alive, basically because everything is recovered. The football team has fully rested and ready to go back out on the field. Now, you know I'm going to mention this, of course, besides exercise, and I mentioned it as one of the detriments, so of course avoid smoking. You know it threatens your health, but you may not know that smoking actually siphons off your energy, causing insomnia. Go back to the sleep. The nicotine in tobacco is a stimulant. That's the whole reason why people do that. Is the reason why people stay with it is nicotine is a stimulant. And so it speeds the heart rate, raises blood pressure, and stimulates brainwave activity associated with wakefulness, making it harder to fall asleep. You find the same thing with caffeine. This is why a lot of people tell me when they get older, quote unquote, they catnap. You also have people that drink a lot of caffeine that say, oh, caffeine doesn't affect me. I can drink it and go right to sleep. Right, because your body has gotten used to it. Therefore, it has no effect. And therefore, it stays in your body and your normal resting heart rate is higher because you have this running line of caffeine always in your body. Therefore, the point of consciousness and unconsciousness is very shallow. And what I mean by shallow, I'm making up these numbers, so don't pay attention to them. But let's say that your body is conscious when your heart rate hits 70 beats a minute. Now, again, I'm making these numbers up. Let's say it's unconscious when you hit 69. So when you go to sleep and you want to stay asleep, you want to go from 70 to 40. I mean, you want to drop into a deep sleep. You can bump between 40 and 47. You're still going to be unconscious. But if you have that running line of nicotine or caffeine in your system, then the heart rate may only drop to 65. And if you have a dream or anything that kind of alerts you, speeds your heart rate up a little bit, you're not very far from being awake. And so that's why you end up catnapping. That's when you end up not getting that deep restorative sleep, which is being caused by the smoking, caused by the caffeine. Therefore, you do not repair. Therefore, you have less energy. So avoid smoking. Eat for energy. Again, this goes back to training your body. Now, I'm going to say some things in here, but remember, there's no such thing as bad foods. There's only bad amounts. But it's better to eat small meals and snacks every few hours than 3 large meals a day. Now, you may be used to eating 3 large meals a day. I understand that. I'm not telling you to change all of that. But if your energy is being affected, what's happening is your body, the more calories you put in at one time, your body's using a lot of energy to break that down. And also you're training your body to overwork and use a lot of energy to have to break that food down. If you train it that you're going to give it less calories but give it more times, then it will learn to be more efficient in its processing, more efficient in its breaking down, more efficient in its metabolizing, therefore taking less energy. And you can spend a lot less energy in this process, therefore save energy overall. Also, eating foods with low glycemic index, and that's whose sugars are absorbed slowly, may help you avoid the lag in energy that typically occurs after eating quickly absorbed sugars or refined starches. Food with a low glycemic index, these include whole grains, high fiber vegetables, nuts, and healthy oils such as olive oil. In general, high carbohydrate foods have the highest glycemic indexes. Proteins and fats have glycemic indexes that are close to 0. And so your energy level is going to be better there. Now, remember, there's no such thing as bad foods, but just control your amounts. If you control your amounts of these high carbohydrate foods and high glycemic indexes, you're going to have better energy. Now, I said caffeine was one of the things that can cause energy problems. Well, obviously, you can use caffeine to stimulate energy, but you want to use it to your advantage. It does help increase alertness, so having a cup of coffee can help sharpen your mind. It's true. But to get the energizing effects of caffeine, you have to use it judiciously. It can cause insomnia. I talked about that a minute ago, just like with nicotine, especially when consumed in large amounts, especially after consuming large amounts after 2 p.m. If you limit your intake, but you take it on somewhat a regular basis, but you limit your intake, your body will still get that effect. It'll still get that positive effect that you're thinking of and associate with caffeine, which is, like I say, it's an amphetamine, but you won't have that huge drop-off. If you keep your amounts low, then it's less that your body will develop this incredible tolerance to the caffeine. It'll actually be treatable. It'll be effective. Let's put it that way. Limit alcohol. And one of the best hedges against the mid-afternoon slump is to avoid drinking alcohol at lunch. Pablo, I'm sorry. I know that's a major practice of yours.
You're no fun at all, Garrett. Golly, man. This segment brought to you by Seagram's. Just kidding.
Exactly. I understand. Well, when I read this, I quit this days ago. I mean, having alcohol. No, I'm kidding. My clients will be very surprised to hear me say that. But the sedative effect of alcohol is especially strong at midday. Similarly, I would avoid the 5 o'clock cocktail if you want to have energy in the evening, believe it or not. And there's many reasons why alcohol does that. One of the things it does, it's a diuretic, so it gets rid of water. That goes back to what we're talking about as far as water limiting your energy level. So if you're going to drink, do so in moderation and at a time when you don't mind having your energy when winding down. So that makes sense. And the last, can you believe it? Drink water. What's the only nutrient that has been shown to enhance performance for all but the most demanding endurance activities? Well, of course, it's not some pricey sports drink, folks. It's water. If your body is short of fluids, one of the first signs is feeling fatigue, and it'll affect your brain. It affects every part of your body, folks. Drink water. Drink water. Drink water. No matter what your energy level is, no matter what your fitness level is, you can always improve your energy. Those are 9 different ways you can affect it. Those are 9 different ways you can improve your energy. And yes, those are 9 different ways that you can help get yourself to that desired level of wellness.
Thanks for listening to the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast with Garrett Williamson. Subscribe now and be a part of the show by calling 251-278-EDGE or message us on Facebook and Instagram at Personal Edge Fitness or at Team PE on Twitter, and visit us at personaledgefitness.com.